All right. Today I'm talking with Lee, who works at, I'm trying to keep this not shaky for you guys. Okay. Who is a U.S. consulate officer. I like an appropriate term, a way to put it.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm very laid back. So basically he's like a U.S. consulate guru. We could just put it that way. And like we're in India, so it's all about gurus here anyway. So today he's giving us some advice, and he's talking from his personal experience. He's not speaking for the consulate right now, although he is working there, but about what to do as a traveler, because, especially, I'm a female solo traveling around the world. And people are always asking me, oh, is it safe? Are you worried? Da, 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 da. What if this happens? What if that happens? So today we're going to talk about some what ifs with Lee. Like, what do you do if you get into trouble? What can a consulate actually help you with? What to do if you lose your passport? Like these things happen with travelers, and what do you do? What can you help us with?
Sure. So there's all kinds of different situations that travelers find themselves in where an American consulate or embassy is willing to assist. And this is generally the same for all nationalities, but each country has its own sort of regulations on what their embassy or consulate is able to do or is not able to do. So in general, the US, for example, assists Americans if they lose their passport, and they need to both report that lost so that it's not used by somebody else and somebody else is using your identity, and also so the traveler can get a new passport so that they can continue their travels or get back to the United States. Also, sometimes when you're traveling and maybe you had lost your money or had gotten that stolen, for example, first thing to do probably is to check with your family back home to see if they can send you money if you've lost that. But another option is to check with the consulate and let them know of the emergency, and they might be able to assist in the near term, and also assist to contact your family back in the U.S. to help facilitate getting travel funds to you because you've lost yours.
Now, in the case if you get robbed, lose your passport, all this stuff, is it also valuable to file a police report when you're in a foreign country, or does it not matter?
No, that's absolutely, that's the first thing to do, because the local police can also inform their government that your passport's been stolen, so that if someone tries to use it, they'll have that red flagged, and that will actually be one of the first questions that the consulate will ask when you're getting an emergency passport is, did you inform the local authorities? So yeah, that's the best thing to do right away.
Okay, so step one, inform the local police, reach out.
Yes, and then reach out to your embassy or consulate to let them know. And it's very important always to have, of course, identity to show who you are to any local officials. Also, if you're wanting to cross any borders, if you're wanting to take a plane or a train, and of course here, if you're wanting to stay at hotels, the hotels
Right.
are always asking you for identity.
Absolutely.
So
You have to have your passport for everything here.
Yeah. So getting an emergency passport is a fairly important service that at least the U.S. Embassy and consulates provide, and most nationalities' consulates do.
How long does it take? So if someone's robbed on a Monday, which let's just pray it's on a business day, right? Because if it happens on a Friday evening, there may be a little wait. You have to obviously wait until Monday to even get in touch. So let's say Monday morning you're robbed bright and early. What's the process like? How long can this take?
So normally you have to show up in person at the embassy or consulate, and then that can usually be done at the same time. So there might be a couple hours wait while that's being printed, but
And you can get that emergency passport just right away, right there.
in general, yes.
Oh, that's phenomenal. I thought it would be like at least a few days, a day or two. But why did I have to wait a week to get my real passport then? You're just taking your time.
So an emergency passport is somewhat different than a normal passport in the fact that a normal passport has more security features and is for the full validity of time. An emergency passport is less secure and has a limited validity that will usually suffice for the remains of your travel and to get you back to the US, where you'll then turn it in for a full validity and normal passport.
Okay. So this isn't like a major travel document. It's sort of an interim passport.
Yeah. So it's smaller as far as fewer pages and it is limited. In some countries, might not allow you to enter. Sort of depends on the country and what the emergency passport from whatever nationality is. But there are sometimes issues with that, which is why it's good to have your normal passport. So, and other countries might have emergency passports, and some might not. The U.S. does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the wackiest thing you've heard about, like a traveler getting themselves into like a weird situation and then needing some help? By the way, I'm always looking for like.
Sure. Well, a lot of times people can get lost, or if they're traveling with family, can lose a family member.
Huh. Like literally just lost. Like
sure,
you don't know where
if
they
you're in a
are.
very crowded spot, like a big festival, and you're there with maybe your kid, or maybe with your grandparent, and all of a sudden you've been separated, and hours or even days go by, and you haven't been
Days?
able to.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that can happen. And so the important thing is check with the local police right away, but another option is to contact the embassy and consulate, let them know and see what assistance they can provide. So, and same thing happens if you're ever detained or arrested in a foreign country. It's important to right away ask for to be able to contact your embassy or consulate to let them know that you're there, so they can provide assistance.
And by the way, mistakes can happen, things can happen, but please don't break any laws in foreign countries. While I was traveling, I came across a friend who met a guy who got arrested in Thailand for stealing a Snickers bar from a 7-Eleven.
Wow. How long did he get detained for? Or?
I think it was only like a day, but then he had to like borrow money from people to get bailed out. But like, why are you stealing a Snickers bar at a 7-Eleven in Thailand? Like, this is a recipe for disaster. And luckily, it was only a short time, but I mean, it's important to be safe and responsible when traveling. And there could be mistakes where people think that you committed a crime and you didn't, but certainly don't willfully commit some crimes. It's crazy.
And different countries have different sets of laws.
Right.
So it's always important to know that when traveling, you're subject to the laws of that country, which might be very different than the laws of your home country and might not provide the same protections and the same rights as you would have back home. So just important to know you're always subject to local laws regardless of your home nationality.
Right. Because I do think in the U.S. we feel sort of privileged, or we have certain expectations, but maybe here in India or in foreign countries, they have different expectations. And I mean, it's a different country, so standards and things can be different. Because part of Lee's job that he was telling me about is also checking in on people who've been arrested, here. And yikes, don't want that to be you.
Correct.
Not a fun scene. And I had another question for you, which totally like blanked out from my mind. But it was about the whole passport travel thing of what people should do. But I guess if you lose your passport, you lose money. Oh, this is what I was going to say. Because you were mentioning if you don't have any money, by the way, which can happen, and if you don't have any access to money from your family, you can also get some government assistance. It's not like a grant money. It's not free money, but there are other options.
Yeah, so again, each country might be a bit different, but for the U.S., if you're ever truly destitute and you're in a foreign country and you have no way to get back to the U.S., there are emergency travel repatriation loans that can be available to help you get back to the U.S., and then you would repay them as soon as you get back to the U.S. So first thing to do is always to check with family to see, or friends,
right,
who might be able to help. But in extreme situations, at least in the U.S. situation, we definitely assist citizens to return to the U.S., make sure they're safe and sound.
Yeah, because I don't like debt. Certainly don't want any more loans. I'm still trying to pay off my current student loans. Mm-hmm. But it's nice to know that if something happens, if you're stranded in a foreign country and really having a problem and need some cash to get out, not like cash to go party and get some extra food at a buffet, right? It's nice to know that these options are available and that you won't just be like on the side of the road, no passport, nothing, unable to get home.
So another good thing to do is make sure that, for example, your passport, that you have for maybe a copy of that you can leave with your family back home, or that you might have a copy in your email so that if you all of a sudden lose it, and the local police ask you, well, what's the passport number? Maybe you have access to that number, so you can inform them, and that's sort of an important document. Same thing about your credit cards. Like if all of a sudden you lose your credit card, do you have the phone number for that credit card company to inform them right away, hey, my credit card's lost, and then they ask you what your credit card number is. So having all that information available to you for when you need to report it.
That's huge, and I've heard that tip before, and I don't have them all written down, but I need to, and I know that is vital, because really, if my credit cards were stolen, I would just sort of be standing on the side of the road like, no, that's not helpful.
Yeah. So really the best thing to do is to leave the information with whoever you're closest to, your family back at home, your friends back at home, who you could trust to call right away, and they could have that in a safe space to give to you.
I love it.
All right.
Who knew? There's so much helpful stuff available. Yeah. The U.S. and different countries will kind of look out for us a bit in some ways.
Yeah.
If we're responsible and not criminals and doing things to, get locked up abroad.
Correct. You don't want to be locked up abroad. That's a definite.
All right. This has been really helpful.
Excellent.
Thank you for these tips. So now you know what to do, how to stay safe when you're traveling. All good things to remember, and I'm gonna really take that credit card thing to heart. I'm gonna do that.
Perfect.
It's good to be safe. So
good.
Also helpful for me. Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate it. Make sure you have subscribed if you haven't done so already. There's a lot more coming up from here in India and then to Europe, to France. So there's a lot. Catch you later.